introduce yourself, man?
Yeah, hey, I'm George Strompolos. I'm the CEO and founder of Fullscreen.
So you're also the co-founder of the partner program itself on YouTube.
Yeah, so back in 2007, I worked at YouTube. Actually ended up working for YouTube for about 5 years. In the early days of YouTube, nobody made any money. It was pretty clear that there was a new generation of content creators and makers that were using YouTube to build audiences and entertain people, and so we wanted to create a system where those people could make a living doing that, and that was really how the partner program began. We never expected it to get this big. It's been cool to see all the different stuff that's happened, but that's how that all began.
Right on. So now that there's channels with millions of subscribers, some people are millionaires off of the program that you were part of that started with YouTube. But now we're seeing what some people are dubbing as like the mainstream media attacking YouTube, and people are blaming YouTube for their loss of revenue in the system. The thing they're calling Adpocalypse.
Right.
That the ads are being pulled, videos are being demonetized. A lot of people are blaming YouTube for this. A lot of people are blaming what they call the mainstream media. But I think you probably have the best idea of what's actually going on.
Yeah, so I think some people may know a few months back, there were a few instances where major advertisers were running ads on videos that were not safe. Some of them were extremist videos. Some of them apparently had links to ISIS. Some of them were white supremacist videos. Now put yourself in the shoes of the chief marketing officer from a major brand advertiser. You don't want your brand next to that stuff. You just don't. And so, a lot of major advertisers pulled their ad spends from YouTube. It became a little bit of a boycott, if you will. YouTube is generally a very ad-safe place. The media companies, the content creators are, for the most part, making great stuff, connecting with audiences, and it's a great place to be advertising. However, their system got to a point where some videos could sneak through, and some advertisers ended up against those videos and they didn't like it anymore. So they are holding YouTube's feet to the fire right now. They're saying, hey guys, we need an environment that is ad safe, where we're not going to be putting our brand that we care so much about against things that are bad. And so while YouTube has been figuring that out right now, the advertisers are pulling back in a big way. Ultimately, YouTube's a great place to reach young people. They will come back, but they need YouTube to create the right environment for them.
So, there's a lot of criticism. H3 just had a video a week or so ago where they said YouTube is doing this. YouTube is hurting the creators. Specifically that the policies they're enforcing about the controls they're giving to advertisers are hurting the creators. Do you think YouTube's at fault for what's happening, or what is it?
I don't think YouTube's at fault, but it is their platform, and they need to create the right environment for the advertisers, or the advertisers just won't be there. I think a lot of content creators need to look themselves in the eye and say, do I make content that is ad safe? And if you don't, then advertisers aren't going to want to be there. Like, that's just the bottom line. A lot of people make great stuff that's perfect for advertisers, and some people don't. And I think YouTube is, to maybe to H3's point, is taking a harder look at what is ad safe content, what is falling into their policies, and what does not. And I think the advertisers appreciate that, they demand it, and they vote with their dollars. If YouTube can't figure that out, then they won't spend their money there, and that would hurt creators. They'll figure it out.
It sounds to me like what everyone's actually complaining about, it's actually that they're kind of getting a free ride for a long time, right? A lot of people were making videos that probably should not have been monetized. Either it's bad content or it's just weird or creepy content. And now everyone's kind of catching on, right? These advertisers are finally realizing that there's they need to look at what these videos are.
Totally. I mean, there's lots of research in the ad world that says that context matters. So the context of which your ad runs, whether it's against a show that makes you feel good, or a show that makes you feel bad, or a show that makes you feel creepy, to your point, that matters in how you perceive the brand and the brand message. And so most marketers are going to want to be against content that makes you feel good or makes you feel tuned in. And yeah, I mean, content creators. You know, one thing we say a lot at Fullscreen is content creators are media companies in and of themselves. I mean, you're a great example of this, Tim. And media companies, if they want to have an ad-supported model, they need to understand what that means. And hey, I'm not saying that everyone needs to go create shiny, ad-safe content, but if that's not your strategy, don't expect Coke and Pepsi and Tide and Neutrogena and everybody else to want to put their ads on your stuff. You're going to have to look at alternative revenue models.
I'm going to have a really unpopular opinion probably right now and say, I think that as awesome as the YouTube Partner Program is, and the ads and all that stuff, what happened was a lot of people who don't know how to run a business all of a sudden had a quick and easy way to monetize their work. And so now people are starting to realize, like you just said, you need to be aware of what the ads are going to buy. And if you think, a lot of people are just putting up videos and then saying it'll get monetized. I'm fully aware that if I do a video where I talk to drug dealers, Coke's not going to want to buy an ad on that. Right? So I see this stuff happening and it's disappointing. I have complained about it, but I'm also not going to blame advertisers for not wanting to try and sell against drug dealers,
It's their money.
Yeah,
it's their brand. They can do what they want with it.
So
it's tricky in the kind of arena of news, though, because I don't think you're doing that for shock value or to freak people out or gross people out. You're just trying to capture the world, and I think you're referring to the work you did in Greece. Yeah. That's probably important work. But again, that doesn't necessarily mean that a brand wants to be there.
This is what sucks because, traveling to Greece is really, really expensive. Doing all this work is expensive. Yeah. And, technically, when I lose all my ad revenue or if advertisers don't want to be involved, sure, you could make a family-friendly video where you're playing with Barbie dolls or something. But, I mean, if I'm doing news and I can't monetize it through advertising, that's bad. Yeah. I will say, look, I'm not one who's going to be like, oh no, I can't run my business effectively. I'm going to find other ways to monetize, and that's kind of like my unpopular opinion. Yes, I feel like it sucks that I've seen my videos demonetized and I've seen ad revenue go down, but at the same time, I feel like it's my responsibility to find sponsors, to find people who want to be involved.
Well, I think that's right. I mean, that's in some ways the big challenge that's been facing news organizations ever since the dawn of the internet, right? Doing good news costs real money, right? And some of it is great for advertising, some of it's not. News and advertising online has been a tricky combination. Oh, yeah. I think one thing that is showing promise, and I'd say you're very much part of this, to be honest, is this idea that people want their journalists, their creators out there in the world, experiencing the world, capturing the stories, bringing them into the story. Like, they want to see that, and so I think fans and viewers are going to start to support those people on an individual basis and really rally behind them. And then you're going to see some of those individuals, start to hire small teams, and they're going to really have pockets of great storytelling, great journalism, great news and information. Supported on an individual level, and those individuals will grow into smaller companies, as opposed to these big media companies having to figure out how to deal with the advent of the internet and the challenges that advertising on the internet brings.
Do you mean like individual donations?
Yeah, donations, buying merchandise, supporting one-off projects. Certain brands who are like, and it might be small, medium businesses, not Coke, Pepsi, Ford, but smaller and medium businesses, I'm looking at a GoPro camera, or I don't know what that tripod is, but maybe it's GoPro. Like an Osmo.
It's all GoPro tripod.
Yeah. So maybe gear manufacturers, or Tim, you wear that cool beanie,
Custom beanies.
And seriously, like, those companies, GoPro is a fairly large company, but some of those, apparel companies, they're not out there spending billions of dollars in advertising every year like the big Fortune 500 companies are. But they do want to align with people that are a good fit for their brand and doing cool stuff. So I think some of those like smaller direct sponsorships are going to be interesting as well.
But what about you guys? I mean, so you're running Fullscreen. Mm-hmm. You've been doing this for, how long have you been?
We just turned 6 in January.
Oh,
so,
wow.
Yeah.
Man, it feels like it's been longer than that.
Yeah.
But I don't know what your business model is. I don't work for Fullscreen or anything, sure. But I know that you do take a portion of ad revenue from creators. Yeah. So is this bad for you, or is this good for you?
It's both, right? Our business is about identifying and growing talent online on platforms like YouTube and Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, helping them grow and helping them make money, whether that's through advertising, through events, through merchandise, through original programming, branded content, and we're one of the best in the world at that, if not the best in the world at that. So YouTube being a really important platform to creators and being an important platform to Fullscreen, if suddenly you have major advertisers pulling their ad dollars out, that's bad for us, right?
Yeah.
But those advertisers know that they need to reach young people, and YouTube is one of the best places to do that. So as those dollars start to flow back in, I think they're going to turn to companies like Fullscreen or places where they're working directly with creators and they understand what their content is and what the context is, as opposed to random extremist videos and stuff, which the whole of YouTube has a hard time preventing.
So now I'm just kind of realizing that maybe this is all a really good thing, because kind of based on what you're saying, if there are a bunch of one-off random videos, these are not people who are dedicated to producing content every day or on a consistent schedule. Now these advertisers are going to start looking more specifically at what they're buying on, and that might mean revenue for individual creators, dedicated creators, might go up.
Yeah, I think that trend is bigger than just YouTube, by the way. There's something in advertising called programmatic advertising. So back in the day, an advertiser would buy, let's say, a TV show, and a person working at that brand would pick the TV show and the time slot that their ad's going to run, and it was very manually matched one-to-one, right? Then, of course, fast forward to several decades, you have the internet, which is this explosion in content, user-created content, different publishers, different platforms, and advertisers start to buy media in a way that's called programmatic, which is more, you're saying, okay, we're a big brand and we want to reach moms on Thursday nights between the hours of 6 p.m. and 7 p.m. So you're not picking a show, you're picking an audience profile. And then literally algorithms are sending your ad to all different places online. And programmatic is a much more efficient way for brands to buy their advertising. And so YouTube's a big part of that, right? What's the problem with programmatic? Well, your adjacency and your context, like we were talking about earlier, is much less controlled, right? So over the past 5-10 years online, we've seen a big shift towards programmatic advertising, and there are good reasons for that. But I think from an ad safety perspective and from a, hey, what's the context that my ad's running on? I think increasingly advertisers are taking a second look and saying, maybe we need to get closer to that old model where it's our brand next to content or creators that we actually have more awareness of. So I think for creators who do ad-friendly stuff, which again is not everybody, and I'm not saying you have to go do that, I think that could be a good thing in the near term.
Any final thoughts, I guess, on the whole adpocalypse?
It'll be cool. Make good content, connect with your audience. If you want to have an ad-supported model, make content that's ad-friendly. I mean, that might not be what you want to hear, but that's just the way it goes.
I make news, so I'm just going to accept.
You're on the fence, man.
I get donations, and but it is what it is. I understand. I'm just going to have to figure it out.
You're going to be good. I mean, if you have a strong audience that follows you, good things are going to happen.
You guys are awesome. All right, man.
All right.
Cool. Thanks for hanging out.
All right. Good to chat, man. See you guys.
If you like the videos, make sure to click the like button and comment below and let me know what you think about, the adpocalypse and what's happening. New videos every single day at 6 p.m. I'm heading to France tomorrow evening, so I guess I won't see you in France. I'll have a video for you tomorrow, then I'll go to France. Adios.